Hello everyone, very good morning and good evening. Welcome to our SAP PP training sessions. So that is what we have covered today. So I would be jumping into the work center. I know you guys have already created the work center. I would check what work center has been created, which Faisal has informed me. And then I would be taking that work center and we would be proceeding ahead. There would be some discussion which you will see. We would be doing it again in our next session also, because then the finance team will also join to give them some understanding. There would be few repetition we'll be doing, maybe 10 minutes, so that we can bring on the same table. I hope you would be able to see my screen now. Okay, let me log into system. So let me go to CA03 to check the routing you guys have created in the last session with Faisal, and SGC1 is the plant. Okay. Now, after today's session, I am expecting that every one of you under the plant SGC1 should create your materials, semi-finished material, raw material, finished goods material, should link them with the bill of material. Everyone need to do it on their own, right? You should create your work centers, you should create your routing, and you should create your production versions. That you should be able to do it, so that in the next session, when I will be completing the product cost estimate, you would also be able to do the product cost estimate for your materials. So SFG10 SGC1 and the plant is SGC1. Okay, that is the one I'm expecting that you guys have created a routing. And in this routing, okay, the other two group counters has been created. Lathe 10 is, this is the machine which has been created, right? In the last session, this is a work center you guys have created, right? Quickly, yes or no in the chat. Okay, yes, I got it. So let's go to this work center, and now, you already know how to create a work center. I'm not going to explain you how to create a work center. I will jump into the detail of further into the work centers, specifically into the capacity tab, into the scheduling tab, and we'll be jumping into their formulas and how the formula calculation happens, how the formula would be impacting the capacities, and how the formula is going to impact the planning. That is the part we are going to discuss. Okay, so make sure that you pay the full attention to it, because today's session would be little, I will try to do a short session, because whatever we'll do is complicated. If you will not focus, you will find it difficult to understand it. Most of the students, if you are not able to understand, most of the students are not able to get the concept at the first go, although I try to simplify it a lot. So this video, today's video, you need to watch it at least 2 times more, so that you are very clear with the concept of the formulas. And I see that sometime sometime in the projects also, people face this problem, and they screwed up the things with the formula, even the consultants also, right? So make sure you give the proper attention to it. So this lathe 10, the work center which we have created, this work center, I will go and I will display this work center with the transaction code CR03. Okay. Now we are going to discuss the capacity tab, which has a formula, and the scheduling tab, which has this formulas. Before going to discuss the capacity and scheduling tabs and the formulas, you need to understand the standard values keys. So here we have a standard values keys, right? We have a setup, we have machine, we have labor. Now I would like you to ask from you, because yesterday only you have gone through it, what is the use of this standard value keys? Anyone can feel free to unmute and answer it. If you don't want to unmute and answer, you can also put it your answer in the chat. What is the use of these standard value keys?
Standard, yeah, this is Raj. As per my understanding, the standard value key is for the sequence of operation for manufacture one product. For example, one product required only setup time and machine time. If the labor is not required, we need only the setup and machine. If another product require setup, machine, labor, and also maybe additional activities, so we
Mm-hmm.
can add one more, keyword, that is operations.
Mm-hmm.
So that dictates, that is the driving factor for calculating the cost.
Very good
The
answer.
minutes, how many minutes it takes. So that sequence of operation, I can say. That's what my understanding is.
Okay, okay, that's good. Anyone has any another thought process before I jump and explain you a little bit? Okay. So the what Raj has said is perfectly correct. I would just reword it or rephrase it to explain you better. So what has happened, we have seen that you know that if you want a product, what do you need for a product, right? To produce a product, you need a semi-finished goods, you need raw materials, right? That structure you have defined in bill of material, right? And what else you require? You require operation sets. That operations we have defined in the routing. And where we will be doing this operation, we have defined in the work center. And work center we have linked with the routing, right? Work center we have linked with the router. So this is the part we have done, right? So to produce a product, we need, let's say if you are producing a product, uh, for example, if you take, let's say if you're producing a soap, to produce a soap, you need soap noodles, you need color, you need flavors, you need oil. Those all things are required to produce it. That you have captured it here, right? But you also require machines also, right? Machine also you require it. Now, how the consumption of machine is happening? How the cost of machine is going into the product? So machine can be the one cost, right? Then the labor can be the another cost because you have also put it the labor. How the labor is going to put it into how the labor cost is going to go into the machine. We are not putting the labor here in our bill of materials, although the labor would also be produced, but we are putting in the bill of material the tangible products only. Tangible products only we are putting in the BOM. But to produce a product, we require a lot of things, right? You need a labor, you need a machines. Machines are very expensive. The machine is expensive, their maintenance is there, right? And then they are carrying a space also. So you need to also bring that cost of production into your production orders and into your final product. Now, the the product cost is coming from the bill of material, but how this machine cost, how the labor cost will go to your product? That's where we use this standard value keys. Okay. We use labor because we want to calculate the labor, that how much of the labor is going in. Okay. And we also want to calculate the machine also. Apart from that, one factor is the cost. Second factor can be scheduling. Third factor can also be your capacity. Okay. Now, cost is the one factor. Second thing is also when you're producing a product, you need to schedule it also. Which operation will start at what time and it will finish at what time? Which operation will start at what time and it will finish at what time? Where do you maintain that timings? Where do you maintain that timings? The operation, duration of operation, where do you maintain? Quickly unmute or answer in the chat, whatever you prefer. Everyone need to answer. Everyone need to answer. We maintain in the routing. Very good. We maintain in the routing. Let's check the routing. I think we have already opened the routing. Let's go into the routing. So this is the what we have maintained it, right? And in the routing in the lathe, you can see here, you have maintained the setup time as a 5 minute, right? and then you are maintaining a machine time as a 10 minutes, and then you are maintaining a labor time as a 5 minutes. So you're putting these values, against what? This setup, this machine, this labor is what? What is this? This is your standard value keys, right? That what are the other parameters? Now, stay focused here, right? What are the sentence I'm going to make now? It will help you a lot doing the consulting. What are the factors you require, which include the costing, scheduling, and capacity, which is important for costing, scheduling, and capacity calculation, which is apart from your tangible products, which tangible products has gone into the BOM. Apart from the BOM, which are the things which is impacting your capacity, scheduling, and cost? That things will go into your standard value keys. Now, this is very standard. We put setup time, we put machine time, and we put labor time, right? What is machine time? Machine time would always be there. It would be always be there. Machine time is a time. Machine time is a time that how much this is going to produce a one quantity. 10 minutes is going to do it. Now, with that 10 minutes, what are we going to do it? We would be knowing that for this particular lathe as a machine, this machine would be having specific capacity. This machine might be available only for 11 hours in a day. So with that duration, you would be able to find it out that if you are producing this, okay, how much you can produce on this machine in 11 hours, okay, or for how many days or how many hours this machine would be required to produce this quantity. That is your capacity calculation. That is your managing the machine capacity. Second thing is you also want to know what date time the operation need to start. Your production order should start 10 a.m. It should finish it at 5 p.m. Right? That start date and end date is calculated through scheduling. That is the scheduling. So you are also interested to know the scheduling. That is the second figure. Third figure is this 10 minutes would get multiplied. The it will be integrating with the costing, and the costing thing would be coming it that if you are using this machine for 1 minute, it charges you $2. So if you are producing one product, we are producing for 10 minutes, $20 of machine cost will go in. So that are the three factors. Now, when you're doing a consulting and when you need to define the standard values keys, always try to think about these three parameters. Whether the standard value key which we are defining it, whether it is important for the scheduling, capacity, or costing. Okay, anything which is important for that perspective need to be maintained. Setup machine labor is standard, but it is not necessary that always will be doing it. There are some industry which has a continuous productions. They don't have much of the setup time. Setup time is not impacting their scheduling much, not the costing much, not the capacity much. So you can say that, but yeah, setup time I don't require it. It is not having a much of the impact. Setup time I'm not required. Processing time most of the time is required. Labor is also most of the time is required, but there can be some highly automated industry where very minimum labors are required, and most of the things with the robotic arms and with the automated lines happens automatically. They can also say that labor is also not that important for us. So you can also exclude the labor also, right? Then you can say that, okay, labor, if it is not very important for scheduling capacity and the cost, we can also exclude the labor. We can only have the processing time. We can only have the processing time, machine time. But now, based on these three figures I talked about, cost, scheduling, and capacity, can you think what can be the additional standard value keys? What can be the additional standard value keys which might be required, which your customer can ask and you need to create it in the system? Can you think through it and let me know? That is also one of the questions which would be asked in the interviews. At least it is my one of the favorite question. Apart from these three, what other standard values keys you can think about quickly? NI in the chat. If you don't know the answer, NI, sir, I cannot think. Whatever it is, I'm able to see only this. I cannot think. NI, NI. Quickly. Now, the question which I have asked to you, it has to do nothing with SAP. It has to do nothing with SAP. You need to only think about your business process. As a production, as a business process, you need to think. If you will be able to think production as a business process and try to think, yeah, what else can be there, which is important for costing, which is important for maybe scheduling or capacity, which is not part of these three, and it is not part of the tangible products, it has not gone into the BOM, then you would be able to think, yeah, this might be the another standard value key which can be asked by the business. Now, you don't have any idea, no problem. You are open for the idea. So let me give you one of the idea which I have created in many of the project is electricity. Now, electricity is also a cost, right? In some places, I will give you some specific examples. Wherever you have like a foundry is there where you melt the things, right? Specifically, we were working in a steel plant where they take the steel ore, they melt it, and in the furnace they melt it, and from the furnace after the melting, they produce the steel slab, and the steel slabs is converted into the steel coil. So in their production house where they are doing the melting of the steel and producing the steel slabs, the first component they are producing, the melting require very big furnaces. And these very big furnaces consume hell lot of electricity. So in the production cost, the cost of electricity is quite significant. Now business asks, how do I monitor how much of the electricity is consumed? In general production, that let's say if I'm talking about FMCG industry, the packaging lines are there, that does not consume that big of electricity. There basically electricity can be any cost which is not part of this can also go into the overheads also, right? We also have a overheads, 10%, 15% overheads, it can also go into the overheads. But if the business said, ki, 20%, 25% cost, which I am producing to producing the product is electricity. Electricity is my major cost. So how do I monitor it? Where do I monitor it? Right? In electricity, I cannot put in my bill of material. It's not tangible, it's intangible, right? I cannot put it there. Then where can I put my electricity? And where I can monitor that in a particular production order to produce that much of time, this much of units of electricity has been consumed. Where I can note it down that. If that kind of things comes, that electricity can be consumed, electricity can be put it as a standard value queue. You can create standard value queue for electricity. In one of the plant, they were using the utility was being they were using, I think, nitrogen in the machines, and the other places the nitrogen was used, right? And they want to bring the cost of the nitrogen to each of the production order. They want to see the cost of the nitrogen, right? Nitrogen was there or some another gas was there. I forgot it, but one of the gas was there which comes through the pipeline, which is used, and that was a significant cost. They want to see that significant cost in each of the production order, that much of cost has gone to this utility gas which we are using it. So that also has gone into the standard value key. That also has gone into the standard value key. Now you need to be very careful. Now this discussion is a very gray line. Sometimes business will come and say that, okay, I want to, in small industries also we have gone, the electricity makes perfect sense for the, let's say the steel plants where big furnaces are there, cost is huge. We have gone into the some small plants, they are just doing the cutting operation, bending operation, then packaging operation. They said also that we also want to monitor the electricity. Then in that case, we said, if you want to monitor the electricity, what is the cost going into the electricity? And it was very small, but still they got stuck. No, we want to monitor the electricity. On those cases where neither it is the cost significant, nor it will impact the scheduling and other things, you should avoid putting it. You need to make business understand you are unnecessarily making this figure. If you are putting this figure, it is not only putting this figure. You need to, when you will be maintaining the routing for each product, you need to tell me. So that's the thing we say that, okay, if you said this need to come as a standard value key, if we feel it is not significant, we say that, okay, these are your 5,000 product. Can you give me that for each of the product, how much of the consumption is there for electricity? We need to put it into the master data. Can you just do that exercise, put it there? And then they come back with the same figure for all the products. If I then we said that was if you are not able to identify how much is you are consumed for each product, you have the same figure for everything, right? Then it can go into your overheads. Then there is no point of maintaining it. If you're not able to identify if I am producing product A onto this work center, product B into this work center, and what is the difference in my standard value key, if I'm not able to identify that, then there's no point of maintaining it. That is the discussion which experienced consultant can do. That is the things you need to note it down to challenge the business also sometimes. Sometimes business will say that I need this 15 things. I'm using nitrogen, I'm using oxygen, I'm using blah, blah, blah. They want to monitor everything, but they don't understand to monitor everything. They need to first key in the master data. And when the production order confirmation will happen, there also people need to key in the figures. So a lot of the things can complicate the things, right? So you need to understand that the most critical things which can impact the capacity scheduling, which has a significant impact on the capacity scheduling and the cost, should come into the standard value key, not XYZ things, not XYZ things, right? So that is just to open up your mind that what is the standard value key, how you would be doing a discussion, and apart from the setup, machine, labor, there can be some another standard values keys also. There can be some standard values keys which you need to create it. The other important thing you need to understand the linkage, how the linkage is there. Sometimes people get confused a lot between standard value key and activities. Okay, so standard value key is different, activity is different. You can see this is my standard value key. This is my standard value key. This is my standard value key. This is my activity. This is my activity, right? This is my activity. Now, who creates this activity setup and machine? Quickly answer in the chat. Who create this activity setup and machines? Who is the person in the project responsible to create the activities? Again, NI in the chat if you don't have any idea. In between, we have a question. Can we add overhead cost for electricity lubricants? Yes, electricity lubricants can also go into the overhead cost also. Overhead cost is just defined as a percentage, that 5%, 10%, 8%, and it would be there everywhere. Each and everything you cannot monitor it, right? Each and everything. There is a supervising staff, there is a HR staff, you have a general manager. All of their salaries also contribute to bring the product out, right? So that cost also need to go in. So, yeah, that is also the cost. PP consultant, no. The activities are created, and the main responsibility for the activities are the finance team. Finance team would be creating the activities, and you would be doing the mapping of the activities. Standard value keys need to map with the activities. Where do we do this mapping? Where do we map the standard value key with the activity? These all are questions which I am asking you. These all questions, parallelly take the notes. These questions can be asked in the interviews also. Where does the standard value key maps with the activity? Again, NI. If you don't know. एक तो तुम्हारे सामने ही यार. One is in front of you. You can see the mapping here itself. And the routing, the mapping is coming. But this is coming automatically. We need not to do it. Basically the mapping you need to do it at the work center. Where we need to do this mapping? Let's check that. So if you go into the costing tab, you can see here, this is your standard value key setup, machine labor. And now you are putting the activity types for them. You're putting the activity types for them. So that is the mapping. Mapping is there in the work center. It's in the work center itself. In the costing tab, we do the mapping. Clear hai? Are we clear? Are we clear with the standard value key? Okay. Now the standard value key comes with this. You can see SAP 1, that is the standard. Don't change this, but you can create your own standard value keys. Right? How you can create your own standard value key? Let's check that. We are going into the pressing F1, going into the configurations. You can go from here, or you can also go from SPRO. I will also show you the SPRO path. So I will go to the standard value basic data. So it is under the production basic data. Under the basic data, we have work center. Under the work center, we have general data. And under the general data, we have defined standard value keys. So you can go here and you can define your standard value keys. So you can see the SAP 1, if you will double click, it is covering setup, machine, and labor. These things are covering. We can define maximum of 6 standard value keys. We can define maximum of 6 standard value keys. Okay, we can define maximum of 6 standard value keys. If by chance, and this is also interview questions, what you will do if a business come up with the thing that they have now, they need to define 9 standard value keys. How will you manage it? If you need to define 9 standard value keys, how will you manage it? NI. No idea? Make sure you are getting the ideas. Okay. So I can define only 6. So you need to connect the dots to get this answer. We can do with the enhancement, but we don't want to do enhancement here. I will tell you without enhancement how we can do it. So 6 are there. So this is your standard value key. Standard value key is going into your work center. Work center is going into your routing operation. It is going right. Now let's say if you have a 9 standard value keys which you have identified, right? What you can do, you can define 6 standard value keys which is most important, which is 6 standard value keys which is impacting your scheduling and capacities. You can put it under the one work center. And there are few standard value keys which is only for the costing purpose. So what you can do, you can have a work center and you can create a kind of a virtual work center. You can create a virtual work center. 6 standard value keys are there into this work center, and another 3 standard value keys, another standard value grouping you can create, and the 3 standard value keys are there under this virtual work center. Okay, it has a SVK1, SVK2, and SVK3. Now, when you are creating your routing, you can put your 10, operation 10 work center. You can maintain your standard value key. You can maintain the operation 20. You can maintain your virtual work center V1 and maintain your standard value keys. Okay. Now it is only impacted for this work center is only for the costing. You can say that this operation would use only for the costing. How you can say that this operation is only used for the costing? This virtual one is only the cost relevant. How you can say that? How you can mark a particular operation only the cost relevant? How? Again, NI if you don't have any idea. But think through it. We need to connect the dots. It is very important connecting the dots to the master data. If you know the master data very well, you are already PP consultant. That importance is the master data. 60 to 70% of the PP design is controlled through the master data and the parameters around the master data. So let's go into back to show you the connections. Let's go into the back into our, let me minimize this one. Let's go into the back and so we have this control key, right? So what I'm talking about, your main work center is here. Then you have created a virtual work center, which is coming here. Now this virtual work center, you're only maintaining for the costing purpose. So you have a control key here. You can manage a lot of things through the control key. So right now the control key is PP01. Let's see what is PP01. This is PP01, right? Detailed information for PP01. So this one, this control key is controlling that this particular operation is relevant for scheduling, capacity requirement, costing, everything it is required. The confirmations are also required. So you can control what are the things required for this operation. If the standard value keys are not important for schedulings, if the standard value keys are not important for the capacity, you can only take the costing here. Then this operation you are defining it is only relevant for the costing purpose. No scheduling, no capacity requirements. Okay, although you have defined the formulas or the other things into the work center, but if you have unticked them, it will not work for that particular operation. Got it, my dear friend? So this is also important. Your control key is important. There would be definitely few questions would be asked to you on the control key. I'm not saying that we have covered everything. We are just starting, but you just noted down these things when we'll be moving ahead into the shop floor control. These things will come again and you will get re-emphasized with these concepts. Okay, so that is a solution which I told you we asked in the interviews, and believe me, 6 out of 10 experienced consultants are also not able to answer it. That in this standard way, this is a workaround, right? So to manage one problem, there can be different solutions can be there, but this can be one of the workaround solution where we can avoid any of the enhancement, and with the standard using standard SAP, still we can satisfy the business requirements. Now, this is where basically you can maintain the more parameters, and you can see that a lot of parameters are available here. Don't change this. You can copy this one. You can just click on this. You can copy your own standard value key. You can do anything, but standard keys does not change it. There might be somewhere electricity also. You can see the electricity is also there. SAP 21. This is a standard parameters created for electricity. Solar energy. If solar energy is the key thing, wind energy, some people can also use water, right? So these kind of things are also available. Okay, you can create anything. Actually, you can create anything. So these things you can select it. If you don't find a standard value key parameter which you want to use, you can also create your own parameters. So your own parameters, go one step back. So here it is define parameters, and then these parameters are used in this standard value keys. Let's go into the defined parameters. Let's see our electricity. Yeah, I think it's SAP 21. So if you click on the electricity, you will see the short key dimension is this is a dimension. Standard value unit is important because again this unit you would be maintaining all the things, and this unit should also match your activity which finance is creating. Both units should match, otherwise sometimes it creates a problem. You will not be able to get the right calculation, or system can throw the errors if the unit of measure of standard value key and the activity which finance is creating does not match. So make a note of it. So this is a standard value unit. You can maintain that this is ampere, and so you can see PRT is also there, production resource and tools. The standard value unit is not there, but the field name is there, that from where the PRT standard value need to be usage, how the PRT usage need to be captured, the field name has been given here. If you are using PRT, production resources and tools, if you are using it, you can also bring here the values from this particular field. Okay, so with that you can create your own parameters, and with your own parameters you can create your own standard value keys, and you can proceed ahead. Okay, with that I'm completing the standard value keys. If you have any questions related to the standard value key, you can ask it. If you don't have any question, I want you to put VC. VC in the chat window. VC means very clear. Why it is not going? Quickly, everyone, either question or VC. Okay, I'm into there. I need to go back from here. Yeah. Okay, I got the two VCs and rest of the people are sleeping. Let me wake up the people who are just still sleeping. Okay, most of the people has responded now. Good. Okay, so this was important, standard value keys. And now let's go into so this is also important. Here you can give the unit of measure, the standard unit of measure for the standard value keys. You can mention it here that it's in the minute. It will automatically come, but you can also check it from here. And let's go into the capacities. Now we are jumping into the capacities and the capacity formulas. We are jumping into that part. Now, when you are into the capacity, right? And if you want to see the detail of the capacity, you need to double click here. You need to double click here. And you can manage the multiple capacities for one work center. You can maintain the multiple capacities, right? Now, capacities will be maintained when you want to use and calculate the capacity requirements. Now, what is the capacity requirement? So if you want to even have a basic information of the machine, generally machine and labor, these are the two things which is people are more interested in the capacities, and for these things, the capacities are maintained. So machine, you are interested that what is the total capacity available? That this machine total capacity is 11 hours. Okay. And now a production order come, and this production order need to produce 50 components. And to produce 50 components, it will take 5 hours of this machine, right? So this 5 hour of the machine is called the capacity requirement. This is you are interested to generate that if this production order, I need to produce 50, what are the capacity requirement it will consume? It will consume 5 hours. Then for that particular day where this production order is scheduled, your available machine capacity should be 11 hours minus 5 hours is equal to 6 hours. That is what you are interested in, right? That is what you are interested in. So that is called the calculation of capacity requirements. You can have that capacity requirements calculation for machine. You can also have a capacity requirements calculation for labor. If you want to calculate for both machine and labor, okay, if you want to calculate for both machine and labor, you cannot calculate with one capacity category. You need to maintain the multiple capacities. Okay, so this is the one capacity you have maintained, 001 for machine. Then you need to maintain one more capacity, and then you can maintain it 002, that is for labor. Okay, simple way in one work center, if there are the multiple things which is impacting your capacity, you can have a multiple capacity categories also. More than two also you can create it. If you create more than two, you need to, there would be a buttons here. Generally, it is not displayed in this one. If you come down, here you will be having a next button. You need to go into the next screen. There, it would be defining if more than one capacities are available. But in general, in most number of cases, two capacities are enough. One to calculate your machine capacity requirements, second to calculate the labor capacity requirements. In many cases, business can say, "Bhaiya, labor also, we are handling it outside the tool. We are not interested that one into the labor capacity, that how many labors are available, what is the requirement. We are using any additional XYZ tool we are using manually outside the system. So we are not interested in the labor, so you can only have a machine, or the labor is not very important for us. The machine is more important. Our main scheduling need to happen, and our main capacity, which you need to focus on the machine. If machine is available, 99 or 95% of the time we'll be able to produce it. Because labor is less, it is less controlled by the labor, but it is more controlled by the machine. But in some cases, it is more controlled by the labor and less controlled by the machine. So when we were having in one of the I would say that it was a chemical industry where they were producing the chemicals, and there was a big unit is there, but full unit is automated. From one side it start using the oils, fatty acid, and it start separating the fatty acid. Only at the last part the labors are used. The full process goes from one work center to another drum to another mixer to another chemical chain reactor. Everything happens automatically. So that was a less labor intensive. There, the labor was not that important. We have not used the labor. We have only used the machine capacity. But I worked on another project that was a construction project. In the construction project, the labor is more important. And because that construction, to do the construction, we have the beds. On the bed, the casting happens. So the bed is available, right? So bed availability is important. But on top of that, if you don't have a labor who will do the shuttering and who will put the MEPs, reinforcement, they will put it in, they will structure it, they will fix it, then only you can pour the concrete. If you don't have a people, your work gets stopped. So there the labor was also very important. So there we need to use both machine and labor. Okay. Many cases we'll use both machine and labor. In some cases where basically the labor is not that important, we can only use machine. If we are into the change mode, let me go into the change mode of this. So in change mode, the mouse, it is. If you go into the capacity, you will see here the create button. If you will create a capacity, another category will create, another will create, another will create. So you can create multiple categories. Okay. If you want to see the data of this category, you can double click on this one. Then you will go inside the data. So this is the data of the capacity. Outside only for this one, the formulas are available. But all other details would be inside this capacity. All other details would be inside the capacity. Okay, so here we need to maintain the capacity responsible. What is the base unit for that capacity? Okay, it would be doing the calculation in hour. What is the start time? So this machine is available from 6 hour in the morning till 18th hour in the evening. So it is available basically only for 12 hours, right? And there is a 1 hour of break would be there. So if you reduce the break again, uh, it would be coming to the 8 hours. But sorry, it will be coming to the 11 hours. But we say that capacity utilization is 75%, which means that, okay, it is available for 11 hours, but for continuous 11 hours, it would not be operating. Its utilization is only 75%. We can only get from the machine the 75% of the time it would be operating. In between, it will stop. We need to adjust it. We need to adjust the material. So 100% time it is not producing it. 75% time only it is producing it. So actual utilization is 75%. So with that 75%, the operating time comes to 8.25 hours. 8.25 hours. And we have a two lathe machines of this kind of thing. So now what we are defining it here, it's important to understand. So it is important to understand this thing. Start time, end time, minus 1 hour, 11 hours coming, and 75% of the 11 hours is 8.2 hours of machine capacity we have. But here we are defining the number of capacities are two. So what we are saying that we have two lathe machines and we are not creating an individual work center for that. So these two lathe machines, this group of these two lathe machine is in SAP, it's a single work center for us. This is a work center for us. So combination of two lathe machine is a work center for us. So we have two machines of this kind. Because you have two machines of this kind, this multiply by 2, it's 16.5 hours of capacity is available in a day. In one day, 16.5 hours of capacity is available for this work center. Can we have in one day, let's say 200 hours of capacity available for a machine or for a work center? Is it possible to have a 200 hours of capacity available in a day for a work center? Quickly, yes or no in the chat window. No idea, no, don't type no idea. I get bored with the no ideas. Put yes or no. Yes, we can have it, right? So if you will put it here 10, then 8.25 multiplied by 10, 82.5 hours of capacity is available, right? If you put it 20, then it would be around 160, 170 hours of capacities are available. So it depends on the number of machines, number of individual machines, which is counted as a work center. So work center can be an individual machine, it can be an individual line, it can be group of machines, or it can be group of lines can be created as a work center. So that is also a very good discussion topic, which I don't want to do it now. I want to do it in the next session when the finance team would also be there. With them, I want to do that session. We will be discussing that how we can say that whether one machine is a one work center or group of machine is a one work center, one line is a one work center, or group of lines is a one work center. That would be very good discussion to have it. Okay, so you understand that how this 16.5 hours of figure is coming, right? How the 16.5 hours of figure is coming. Now let's go back. Now we have given this formula: setup time, processing time, tear down time. So what are these times? Let's discuss them. So when you're doing operation, pen is not behaving as it should behave. When you're doing the operation and when your operators start the operations. So the first time is the time which you need to set up the machine. What kind of setups you need to do it? You need to put jigs, you need to put fixtures, you need to set the parameters, you might need to clean the machines, you need to remove some things and add some things. Okay, he need to do some rinsing of the machine. If it is a drum is there, which was produced from another chemical, he need to push in the water, rinse it and clean it so that it is available, make it dry so that it is available. So that is called the setup time. Setup time is a time which is required to make a machine ready for the operation. Then second sort of time is, which is the most amount of time, is a processing time, where the machine would be processing. It's a lathe machine where basically it would be turning, it will be doing its turning operations, and then it would be, the machine would make ready. That is the processing time. Then the third set of time can be tear down. Tear down is once the operation is done, again operator need to move the scrap out, whatever the scrap has been generated, he need to move the scrap out, he need to clean the machines, he need to remove the tools which has been used from the machine, and it need to put it in the proper place. That is tear down. Tear down is ulta of the setup. So you need to do the setup, you need to do the processing, and you need to do the tear down. Tear down is making sure that the machine is available for the next operation. Now let me ask you, in most number of cases, the projects which we have done, we have used setup, we have used processing, but we have not used tear down. What can be the reason? Why don't we prefer to use tear down? What can be the reason? Anyone? And this is very much a business question. SAP का कोई लेना देना नहीं है इसमें. You need to put your business mindset, business process thinking, you need to put in. Setup time, we said use it. Processing time, use it. Most number of cases don't use the tear down time. What? Why? Quickly. You can feel free to unmute also to answer the question. Most number of questions which I ask during the interviews are related to the business processes only. Go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, that depends on the industries. If you require only one time install the machine and do the operations, continuously in a year or a long term, so the tear down is not required.
Okay.
If, for example, you are in the construction industries, right? Once you install the equipment, you have to tear down. For example, scaffolding or whatever it is. So once you do the construction, everything, you have to tear down all those things. That they're required. But for example, in the automotive industries, for running the car, work center to work center, once you install, that's what you are producing the car, lifelong, right? For the plant, for particular program, particular plant. So if it is additional enhancement in the area for the work center, you can add some additional tuning of the machine, or add the additional things later down the road.
Okay. Okay. That's very good try. That's a very near answer. Anyone else? Anyone else wants to give a thought process to it? Okay. By the time you are thinking, I will just add on one thing, that we have a lot of requirements coming within Sastrageek Solutions for the consultants. So generally we put those requirements in the Telegram group. Okay. So you make sure that you are checking our Telegram groups. We always prefer to give a chance to our students first before taking consultants from outside. So, okay. Now let me tell you that why the tier 9 towns is not required. So what you do the operations in the sequence. Once you do the one operation, one product, another product, you do in sequence, right? So what would be happening? So what would be happening? So you have this setup, I will put it here, tier down, and when the next operation you will start, for the next operation also, it would be a setup time here, right? It would be the setup time here. So you would be having some setup time. So many cases, this would be combined. Your tear down and setup would be combined because when you are completed the operation, okay, and when you want to start a new product, so the time which you are taking, you are cleaning the machine, you are tearing it down, and parallelly you are removing the jig fixture, and then you are adding the new jig fixture which you need to use this for the next product. So many times the separate calculation is not possible, and many times physically also we do it together. When the operation is completed, we are cleaning it and making it ready. We are removing one jig, one fixture, we put it another jig. For the next product, another fixture, we removed one tool and put it another tool. So that total time system, many industries call it as a setup time. So we don't have a separate, in most number of cases, it happens like that at ground. At ground, it is not like that, okay, first I will clean the machine, everything, put it the place. Now my tear down is done. Now I will start the setup for that. So first tear down and the next second setup, it happens in parallel. So many times the combination of tear down and the setup, it's total the time which business said that after one operation has been done to make the ready to make the machine ready for the second operation, it requires 5 minutes of time. So that 5 minutes of time which we get it is a combination of setup and tear down, right? So that's why we don't go ahead with the separate tear down maintenance of the separate tear down. We maintain it with the setup itself. Within the setup also, the setup is also happening, tear down is also happening. After all, we need the time so that that time can be considered for the scheduling, can be considered for the capacity, right? We need that time. So many times this combination of the time you will get it. So that's why we just maintain setup, and in setup we call it to make a machine ready from one operation to another operation, which include the setup of your operation and tear down of the previous operation is your setup time. If that is the definition, then we don't need a separate tear down time. That is the reason we only go ahead with the setup time in most number of cases to simplify for the business, and business also has only that set of data. Now, these are the formulas which is used. SAP 005 is a formula which is used, and we will see this formula. What is the SAP 005 formula? This is a standard formula, and if you will click it here, this is setup time multiplied by operation splits. What is operation splits? Operation splits is number of your individual machines. Number of individual machine we mentioned as a 2, right? That is setup time multiply by operation splits. Number of machines is your setup time. Processing formula. What is the processing formula? Let's check that. Machine time multiply by operation quantity divide by the base quantity. Machine time multiply by the operation quantity divide by the base quantity is your processing formula. Okay. I'm 100% sure you might not be able to understand it. Even first time, even I didn't understand it. So to understand it better, what is the way? The way is, let's check this formula. Okay, we'll be testing this formula. So we are calculating for the operation quantity of 100. My operation quantity is of 100. Let's say I'm putting 100 each. Base quantity is 1, right? Base quantity is 1. For me, the number of splits is 2. Number of split is 2, right? To produce one quantity, I require 10 minutes of setup time, and right now I am not mentioning the machine time, labor time, 10 minutes of my machine time, and 10 minutes of setup time is required. So what I am saying here, if I need to produce one quantity, I need 10 minutes of setup time and I need 10 minutes of machine time. Okay. Now you need to calculate and tell me, and I will give you 2 minutes for that. I will give you 2 minutes for that. What should be my capacity requirement in terms of minute? If I need to produce 100 quantities, if I need to produce 100 quantity, how many minutes I need to book on that machine, on that particular work center, not the machine, I would say use a terminology, SAP terminology as a work center. How many minutes I need to book for that work center? Book for the work center means how many minutes of the capacity requirement will be generated. Again, I am repeating, to produce one, I need 10 minutes of setup time and 10 minutes of machine time. If I am producing 100 quantity, if I am producing 100 quantity, how many of what is the total capacity requirement system would calculate? Take your time and give the answer in the chat. I need answer from everyone. Okay, I need answer from everyone. You cannot say no idea. You need to calculate something and give me some number. And don't worry if the number is wrong. You are doing it for first time. Even if it is wrong, that is fine. I got one answer from Mandar. One answer I got it for Sanyojita. Okay. Still waiting for others. Okay, 83 hours, 5,000 minutes, 5,000 minutes for two machines. Okay, let me tell you, you have successfully answered. All the answers are wrong, but that is not important. The important is you did the calculation and you tried to bring it out the answer. That is more important. That is more important. So let's see what system calculates here. So it is calculating in hours. Setup is 0.33 hours. The total requirement is 77 hours. So what you need to understand, we'll calculate in the minutes. No worries if it is calculating in this one. So what we said that there is a two lathe machines are there, right? That's what we have said. One thing is very simple, is that if to produce one quantity, I have a machine time of 10. To produce 100 quantity, if I want to produce 100 quantity, the machine time would be 1000 minutes. Straight away calculation, right? To produce one quantity, I need 10 minutes. To produce 100 quantity, I will require 1000 minutes. Right or wrong? Right. So 1000 minutes is my processing time. Now, what is my setup time? Now, setup time, I have two machines, right? So system would be calculating something like that, okay, 50 quantities will go here and 50 quantities will go here. 50 is going here, 50 is going here. So I need to do the setup of both of these ones. Okay. For each setup, I am taking 10 minutes of time. So 10 minutes of time, setup time does not depend on how many components I am producing it. Setup time depends how many components together once I have done a setup once, the same setup would continue because the same product, another quantity I am producing. So same setup will continue. So 10 minutes will take here and 10 minutes will take here. So total 1000 plus 20 minutes would be 1020 minute is the answer. If you will convert 1020 minutes, this 20 minutes is 0.33 hours, one third of the hours. So you can see the setup time is 0.33. 1000 minutes, if you will try to convert into this hours, it will come 16.677. And 1020, if you will divide by 60, it will come to the 17 hours. So actual answer is 1020 minutes of capacity requirements which will be generated. This is straightforward, 100 multiplied by 10,000 minutes. For this one, for the setup time, you need to check what is the number of split or number of machines are there. Two machines means two times setups will be required. 20 minutes here, 20 minutes here. So total 1020 minutes. Are you clear with this calculation? Any questions? Feel free to unmute and ask. Yes, clear. Very good. Okay. If you're clear with this, I'm jumping into the next one. That is the scheduling. Now, you need to understand one basic difference between capacity requirement and scheduling. Capacity can be anything, as we discussed. In one day, for one work center, a capacity can be 2 hours also, and capacity can be 200 hours also. Scheduling, you need to make a note. Scheduling for one machine, scheduling is always 24 hours. In one day, you cannot have more than 24 hours, right? Scheduling is start at 7 a.m. and finish by 9 a.m. That kind of thing is scheduling. If that difference you are able to understand it, you would be able to. If that difference you are able to understand it, you would be able to do it. Some problem with my pen. Let me try to fix it. Just give me a minute. Okay, that is the main difference. Scheduling is always for a day. Scheduling in a day always has 24 hours. Capacity for a work center in a day, it can have a capacity of 2 hours also and 200 hours also. It depends on how many number of machines are there. That is a basic difference between the capacity and scheduling. If you are able to understand that difference, you would also be able to understand the other things. Now let's go to the scheduling. Scheduling also can have a multiple different capacities. Okay, so here if you create a more capacities in scheduling also, you can do a scheduling of multiple capacity. You can do the scheduling of labor also, and you can do the scheduling of machine also. Here we are talking about scheduling of machine. So what is the setup formula? Let's check the formulas first. Setup formula is only the setup time. Okay, there is no multiplication of number of individuals capacities. Okay, processing formula is number of machine multiplied by operation quantity divided by the base quantity divided by the operation split. The number of splits, which is number of your individual machines, are divided. Number of individual machines are divided. Okay. Now let's do this testing of this formula. I will reduce the number of operation quantity to simplify it. To produce one base quantity, okay, I require 60 minutes of setup time, and I also require 60 minutes of my machine time. I have a two number of splits, two machines are there. To produce one, I need 1 hour, 60 minutes of setup time and 1 hour of machine time. If I need to produce 10, if I need to produce 10, and let's say if I am starting my operations at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. in the morning, I'm starting the operation. Till what time it will finish? That is what you need to tell me. That is what you need to tell me. Okay, so what should be the figure here? If I'm starting at 7 a.m., till what time it will finish? So this is 1 hour of setup time, 1 hour of machine time. Giving you a little bit of more time. Six p.m., 5 p.m., next day 9 a.m., 8 p.m., 6 p.m., 320 minutes, next day 9 a.m. Let's see. Thank you for your answer. Let's see. 720 minutes. Let's see. So total it will require 360 minutes. 360 minutes. 360 minutes is, if I will divide by 60, it would be 6 hours. Okay, system is calculating the 6 hours which would be required. Now, how the 6 hours comes into the picture? Let's discuss that. So this is, let's say this is 1 hour or this is 60 minutes. Let's try to understand the calculations now. So we have two machines. You're starting at 7 a.m. First, you need to set up the machines. Both of the machine, you need to set it up. So 1 hour is required to set up the machine. 60 minutes is required to set up the machine, 1 hour. So by 8 a.m., after 60 minutes, by 8 a.m., both of the machine setup time would be done. Both of the machine setup is done, right? Then you will be starting producing it. To produce one quantity, you require 60 minutes, right? So system is considering 5 quantity you are producing in this machine and 5 quantity you are producing in this machine, right? 5 in this, 5 in this, because we have 2. So that system will do, if to produce 10, I need 60. To produce 5, how much I require it? To produce 5, I require 300. 300 means 5 hours. So from 8 a.m. plus 5 hours, that is 1 p.m. At 1 p.m., I would be able to finish it. So what I have consumed it 5 hours from here, 5 hours from here. But this 5 hours and 5 hours will not add because I tell you it is scheduled. In schedule, it does not get added. 7 a.m. I started this work center. By 8 a.m. my work center setup is done. And in next 5 hours, I would be able to produce 5 on this, 5 on this, 1 p.m. I would finish it. So total time taken is 6 hours. 1 hour is taken for my setup time and 5 hour is taken for my processing. So here the processing time will divide because the two machines are working in parallel. Two machines are working in parallel. So in the schedule, it will not go for 10 hours. By 5 p.m., you would be able to finish it. Does that calculation make sense? If it makes sense, quickly put MS. MS in the chat if it makes sense. MS in the chat if it makes sense. Okay, so that is, that you all have made a mistake here, but it is good to make a mistake now and to learn it. I have seen 8-year, 6-year experience consultant coming into the project and not able to understand this, putting wrong formulas, not able to understand how the calculation is happening, not able to explain the business why it is 6 hours, why in the capacity it is different minutes, why here it is different minutes, because they both are two different things. That is the number of hours in the capacity. This is a scheduling. Scheduling has a limit of 24 hours in a day. Capacity can be 200 hours for a work center in a day. right? So that is what you need to understand it. If still you are not able to understand, you have a confusion, still you need to watch. Even though you understand it, you need to watch this video again and take your notes. Because this is the thing, when suddenly people will ask in the interviews, you will not be able to answer. If you have done the pakka notes and it goes into your brain, then only you would be able to answer it. Otherwise, it is always confusing. Sometimes if I'm working after a long time, I also get confused with these formulas. Okay, so this is good. You are able to understand the work centers. You are able to understand the formulas. Now, in the next session, when we are doing the product cost estimate, I will take you into I will take you into the costing one. What is there in the costing today? I want to focus on the standard value keys, formulas, capacity formula, scheduling formula, so that you understand it. But with that, I want to also cover one more thing, that when you go into the capacity, there is an option available of pooled capacity. Okay, and when you go into the capacity category, there is an option available here for the reference capacity. So what is pooled capacity? What is reference capacity? That also I want to cover it. Okay, that also I want to cover it. So you can also go ahead with the reference capacity. You can go ahead with the pooled capacity. Right now, the capacity we have created, neither we have used the pooled capacity, neither we have used the reference capacity. Okay. So let me first explain you what is pooled capacity and what is the reference capacity. And then you will try to understand it, how it need to be used. This is a good blackboard to explain. I will use white color, my favorite one. Now let's first take the example of a reference capacity. Whether it is a pooled capacity or whether it's a reference capacity, these capacities we would be creating it separately. We don't create it here. We create it outside. Outside also you can create a capacity. I think the transaction code is CR11. You can create the capacity from there, and then that capacity you can assign in the work center. Okay, so that is creating a capacity outside and assigning it here. Here within the work center itself, we have created the capacity. So when we talk about the reference capacity, what is the purpose of the reference capacity? Let's say you have 50 lathe machines. They all are similar in nature. They all are similar in nature. But due to the business requirement, you have created a 50 work centers for them. Okay, the same time they start, the same time they finish, same time the breakup time, utilization, everything is same for them, right? But they are the 50 work center. Now the maintenance of these 50 capacities individually will be a lot of data. What SAP can give you, that you can create a reference capacity and all the data, the start time, end time, break time, the utilization time, you can maintain in this reference capacity. And under the work center, when you're creating a work center, you can just assign this reference capacity. So the benefit of this is, if you decided, okay, now this, once I'm reducing my break time from 60 minutes to 50 minutes, then you need to change your 50 work centers. Every work center you need to go and you need to change it. In reference capacity, you just need to change your reference capacity, which is referenced in the 50 work centers, right? You will change from 60 minute to 50 minute in the reference capacity, and then everything is changed. That is the benefit of a reference capacity. Okay, reference capacity is created for the ease of master data maintenance. That is what we need to remember. Reference capacity are created for the ease of master data maintenance. That is also asked in the interviews. Also, this question would be asked, that the reference capacity is created to ease of master data maintenance, so that we need not to maintain at every work center the data, and if something got changed, we need not to change all of the work center. We have a reference capacity that we change it. All the work centers are updated with that. Okay, so that is first thing, is the reference capacity. Second thing which you can mention in the work center is the pooled capacity. Pooled capacity we use many times for the labor. This situation happened with the labor. So you have this line, you have this line, and you have this line. This was the actual condition. We were working in a manufacturing. These are the three different sub-assembly lines are there, which produce different kind of components. I'm giving you an example for three, at least 5 or 6 sub-assembly lines was there. Now these sub-assembly lines are the different work center. This is work center 1, this is work center 2, this is work center 3. But what we get it here is every shift we get 23 people. Now these 23 people which we have, the labor which we have, we can assign that on which work center how many people are required. Based on the load of the work center, we can decide it. 3 need to go here, 6 need to go here, 5 need to go here, 4 need to go here. So this 23 capacity, which is multiplied by 23 multiplied by 8, 8 3s are 24, 16 or 18, 184 hours of capacity is shared between the three work centers. So in this case, what we create a pooled capacity. For this group of 23 people, we create a pooled labor capacity. And all these work centers, let's say we created pooled cap 23, we have created. So all these three different work center in the labor capacity, I will assign this pool cap 23. That I will assign in all the three different work center. Pool cap 23, I will assign it. Where do I assign it? I will show you in our content library. This part I will show you in the content library. And I will also show you, we have a very good documentation in the content library, and I will also quickly show you in the work center also. And then I will open for questions if you have any. So there. So here is the pooled capacity. We can maintain the pooled capacity here. Whatever the pooled capacity you have created, you can mention it here. Then if you will go inside the capacity, once you have defined the pooled capacity, you will see the pooled capacity tick would be there. Pooled capacity tick would be coming it here, right? And if you want to create a reference capacity, you can go here, and here you can mention your reference capacity. Reference capacity, you can mention it here. Before I go these things that how to create this capacity through our content library, which we have created for you, do you have any question on the pooled capacity, or do you have any questions on the reference capacity? If you have a question, feel free to ask. If you don't have a question, I want you to put NQ in the chat window quickly.
So, Parminder, question here. This
Go
is
ahead.
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the reference capacity is like a standard capacity. It's a common for all the machines, right? All the work centers.
Yes, it's
And
common for all the work centers.
Yeah, the pooled capacity is for the setup time. Everything is common. Only the distribution of labor is different.
See, you need to understand two things.
Yeah.
First thing is that machine, you would be having a separate capacity 001. Labor, you will have a separate capacity 002. In a work center, there would be two capacities, machine capacity and the labor capacity. Separate capacities would be there, right? So when we talk about the reference capacity is that you need to consider it that you have created a set of master data at one place, and you are copying this master data. Okay, whatever the work center we use, this same master data is referenced. It is only reference. It is just to ease of creation of your data. Okay. But pooled capacity is actually a group of people who are assigned to the different work center. Group of people assigned to the different work center. That is the pooled capacity. Pooled
Okay, sir.
capacity, when you create it, when you assign it, the capacity utilization would be going to the pooled capacity. But that does not happen to the reference capacity. Reference capacity is just, that you have created a template, kind of a template you have created. Whenever you are creating a work center, the data is copied from that template. The data is copied from that
SOP.
template.
Okay.
That
SOP.
is the only
Okay.
thing. But each individual capacity is the work center is their own capacity. But pooled capacity is the centralized capacity, which would be used in multiple work centers. That is the concept.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Thank you.
Okay, if you get it, what I will do, I will quickly take you into our content library, and I would also want to say that you need to also explore our content library. We have very enriched content library. Okay, I will take you through that. Just give me a minute. Okay. So here it is. So when you get the bundle, within the bundle, you also have this PP mind maps and content library. A lot of very good mind maps are available on the different topics. So go through that, and we have also created very good content. Step by step with the screenshot, the content has been created, right? So I'm going into this content library. So these are the mind maps are available. So if you want to see the mind map for the, let's say, the planning strategy 30, how it would be working, very detailed with this, with the explanation, a good mind maps are available. So whenever you get a time, please explore it from here, and we can just search here. And a lot of documentation, you can see that a lot of documentations are created with the screenshot. So right now I'm interested in pooled capacity. So you can see I searched for the pooled and I get it here, reference and pooled capacity. So if you click it here, you will get the content which you can read about, and then you also get it here, the enter full screen, the presentation. Then what is the reference capacity and what is the pooled capacity and how it can be created. So first we are talking about the reference capacity. I told you for the reference capacity and the pool capacity, we are using a transaction code CR11. So CR11 transaction code will be using it to create this reference capacity. Okay. So you need to put plant capacity, you need to put your capacity category, and then all other fields are same. You can see exactly the same fields you need to maintain it. Exactly the same start time, finish time, then number of individual capacity, capacity utilization, everything you need to maintain exactly the same way you maintain it in the work center. But here we are only maintaining specific for the capacity transaction CR11. So we will create this reference capacity. So if it is a pooled capacity, if this capacity which you are creating, if it is a pooled capacity, you need to tick it here that this is a pooled capacity. Otherwise, this tick need not to be there. If it is just a reference capacity, you just leave this tick while creating a capacity through transaction code CR11. And this you can access it. Step-by-step guides are available. Not only for this, for multiple topics, we have created the documentations and given to you. Save this capacity. So the reference capacity has been saved. Similar way, you can assign the pool, you can create the pooled capacity. Now from CR11, we are creating the pooled capacity. The way of creation is exactly same. Okay, when we are creating pooled capacity, here the pooled capacity tick you will be mentioning it. That is the difference. CR11, whether you are creating reference capacity, pooled capacity, the steps are same. Only difference would be for pooled capacity, you would be ticking this pooled capacity tick. Once the pooled capacity is created, then you will be assigning it to the work center. So when we go into the work center in creation of the work center, okay, and we go into this capacities part, right? So here, when we are defining this capacity category 001, for capacity category 001, we want to assign a reference capacity. So for here, if you will double click and go into the capacity category, Okay, so we are creating another capacity category here. So for 002, I have mentioned the pooled capacity which I have created here. Here I need to mention the pooled capacity. For 002, I have mentioned the pooled capacity. Then the data will come from the pooled capacity. 002 is my labor pooled capacity. And for 001, when I am double clicking and going inside, I will go into the extras. I will go into the maintain reference available capacity for this one. And I will create this reference 18, which I have created. I will insert this, press enter. Then all the data would be copied from reference capacity to here. All the data is copied from the reference capacity to here. So this all things would be changed into the gray mode. You cannot change it. If you want to change this data, you need to change the data in the reference capacity. This would be grayed out. So if you will double click on this 002, where we have mentioned the pooled capacity, you can see here, this is also grayed out because it is coming from the pooled capacity. It would be ticked here. It shows that this data is coming from the pooled capacity. So you need to change the pool capacity POOL18 if this data need to be changed. Okay, so in your bundle which has been assigned to you, this content library is assigned. We are giving a lot of things to you. Step by step, I will guide what thing you need to refer it. But you can refer from here, and by referring from here, you can also create your pool capacity and you can also create your reference capacity. Okay, you can create your pool capacity and you can create your reference capacities and assign to the work centers. There's a question, is it possible to download the document for reference? No, it is not possible to download the document for reference. You need to go and you need to access from our LMS only. And we are keep on adding the documents. The next year you will see a lot of documents. So many of the learners which comes to us, they keep on subscribing our courses. We have a lot of people who are keep on subscribing for 3 years, 4 years, because we are also keep on adding the content. So for the next year, when you need to subscribe the full bundle, you need to just pay 50% of the listed price. If you pay the listed 50% of the listed price for the next year, you will again get a 1 year access for the bundle where all the content is there. Okay, so with that, I would be ending our today's session, and the assignment for the today's session is go ahead and create your pool capacity, create your reference capacity, assign it to the work center, and test the formulas in scheduling tab, in capacity tab, whatever the formulas are there, put the different values and test the formulas. That is the assignment for today.